Hey guys, it's Ryan, finding a path to financial freedom for the self-employed. So, it finally happened. US President Joe Biden signed an executive order this week calling on the government to examine the risks and benefits of cryptocurrency. The order is to focus on 6 key areas: consumer protection, financial stability, illicit activity, US competitiveness, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation, not to mention a little more exploration around the idea of that so-called digital dollar or CBDC. It's long been wondered what effect regulation would have on cryptocurrencies, so I'm making this video not only to explain what's found in the order itself, but what we can expect from the crypto markets going forward. Let's talk about it. So it took them long enough, but Biden and co. are back with a brand new executive order for us. Despite concern among the many crypto-maniacs, the other shoe has finally dropped, and I gotta tell you, it's not all bad news. Word about forthcoming regulation hit the web this week through an accidentally released and since deleted statement from the Treasury touting the order as historic and inadvertently sharing some juicy tidbits about what was to come. Officially signed on Wednesday, Biden's executive order calls on federal agencies to take a unified approach to the regulation and oversight of digital assets. It also begins the process of identifying who of the governmental agencies will be responsible for what. Framing regulation is largely necessary for consumer protection. The details announced in the White House fact sheet outline the following 6 buckets as key points of interest for the administration: consumer and investor protection, illicit activity, financial stability, US competitiveness on the global stage, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation. One thing to be aware of before we go any further, keep in mind that the executive order is simply the first step towards regulation. It doesn't actually do much outside of just deciding which agency will be responsible for presenting a report on which part of the crypto pie. As it pertains to protecting consumers, much of this regulatory effort is in response to the countless stories of investors falling for crypto scams or losing huge sums of money through cyber attacks on exchanges or users themselves. The Biden administration is calling on the Treasury to assess and develop policy recommendations on crypto. It also wants regulators to ensure sufficient oversight and safeguard against any systematic financial risks posed by digital assets. Another key area Biden's executive order focuses on is rooting out illegal activity in the crypto space. Biden has called for an unprecedented focus of coordinated action from federal agencies in mitigating illicit finance and national security risks posed by cryptocurrencies. He's also urging international collaboration on the issue. Especially since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, authorities have additional concern regarding the possible use of crypto in helping sanctioned Russian individuals and companies evade the restrictions imposed on them by the West. Most crypto-centric talking heads dismiss this, however, because it would be highly difficult, in their opinion, for funds to be laundered through digital currency, given that all transactions are kept public on the blockchain. It's a more subtle point, and a lot of people argue how important it is, but Biden also dropped mention of the sheer energy costs baked into digital currencies like Bitcoin. He wants the government to study ways to make crypto innovation more responsible, reducing any negative climate impacts. By its very design, crypto is incredibly resource intensive. Bitcoin specifically relies on a mechanism known as proof of work to confirm transactions and generate new units of currency. A decentralized network of computers then competes to solve complex math problems in order to mine the cryptocurrency. The more computing power a miner has, the higher their chances of being rewarded in new Bitcoin. Of course, this is very attractive to prospective miners, and as a result, in their efforts to extract the most possible Bitcoin from the process, they use incredible amounts of energy and other resources. The massive uptick in resource usage has raised alarm bells for policymakers around the world, with China going so far as to ban crypto mining outright last year. That move led to an exodus of crypto miners from the country to the US and other countries like Kazakhstan. Part of the language in the White House announcement focuses on giving the US a competitive edge over other countries when it comes to crypto development. This is especially significant now that China has effectively banned cryptocurrencies. President Biden has tasked the Department of Commerce with establishing a framework to drive US competitiveness and leadership in and the leveraging of digital asset technologies. Several crypto industry figures have called for such action, including the bosses of Coinbase, Kraken, and the Winklevoss twins' Gemini exchange. The Blockchain Association, an organization that represents multiple well-known crypto companies, said last week that through this plan for regulation, it's possible that Biden could have the opportunity to ensure America remains the global leader for technological innovation for years to come. Finally, the Biden administration also wants to explore a digital version of the dollar. This is led primarily by the fact that China has led the charge towards a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, with more and more people using smartphones to make payments and handle their finances. Now don't panic, at this point Biden isn't saying whether or not the US should even launch its own digital currency. Rather, he's calling on the government to place urgency on the research and development of a potential CBDC. The Federal Reserve last year began work on exploring the potential issuance of a digital dollar. The central bank released a long-awaited report detailing the pros and cons of such virtual money, but it didn't actually take a position on whether or not it thinks the US should issue one. While CBDCs could rapidly speed up the settlement of payments, policymakers are evaluating a number of issues around financial stability and privacy. One such concern is that in the US and other countries, there's been some discussion about the use of not just digital currency that is tied to the dollar, for example, but a programmatic digital currency that would allow government actors to step in and regulate the way money is spent. Scary stuff, if you ask me. Delivery of the new policy agenda removes a key source of uncertainty for an industry that has already been rocked by numerous regulatory hiccups and scandals. Earlier this year, as discussed on this channel, crypto startup BlockFi was hit with a record $50 million fine by the US Securities and Exchange Commission over allegations that it violated securities laws with its retail lending product. The penalty was part of a larger $100 million settlement, which included payments to 32 states. Coinbase has similarly run into trouble with the watchdog, though it's managed to avoid the same punishment. The SEC threatened Coinbase with legal action over a product similar to BlockFi's, which offered users interest payments on their crypto holdings. The company, however, just dropped the plans for the service altogether. In my humble opinion, the government has a long track record of messing things up. They are in charge of the stock markets and other markets at this time, and as we all know, those are riddled with corruption. So, is regulation a good thing? Probably still a net positive, sure. But does that mean that we aren't justified in having a little healthy skepticism that maybe those at the top aren't all that capable of doing a good job with this? I guess we'll find out. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified every time I drop a new show. If you like this content or you found anything else on this channel valuable, please consider sharing it and spreading the good word. Get $10 in free Bitcoin for buying $100 or more in crypto at Coinbase using the link below, and join me here every Tuesday and Friday for more. Have an awesome week, and if you do anything fun, share it in the comments. We'll see you guys next time.